touch with their constituents as they used to be. And they know most constituents, most of the districts out there, aren't hard right or hard left. Most are in the middle. That's what's got lost. The middle has gotten lost. And I think we're coming out of that a bit. I think the current legislative session was a bit better than the ones that preceded it. I just hope that we can continue that. Now we got big elections coming up for governor and for the assembly and for a third of the Senate. It's going to be interesting to see if those are more civil. I surely hope so. I think that we've begun to return to civility, and that makes a big, big difference.
Well, how was your first State of the State? Did you do a good job? Were you nervous?
Well, I was nervous as a cat.
Why?
I don't, because so
you knew
much.
Everybody in there. You served in this house.
Maybe that was one reason I was more nervous.
All right.
I remember saying to Tommy Thompson at one time, it is tougher for someone who served in here, I think, to go do this than it was for someone like Pat Lucy, say, who had not served in the legislature. Because I looked out at all these faces. I knew all these people. I was looking down at John Shabazz, with whom I used to duel on a regular basis, Tommy Thompson. On the other side, my friends Tom Loftus and others. So,
and you're sitting in the room, the assembly parlor, where you used to play cards with some of these people, right?
That's right. That's right. You know, one of the funny things about the State of the State, ironic things, even back then I wore bow ties fairly frequently. And the press would comment some years on, why did Earl wear a bow tie this year when last year he wore a more traditional tie? Well, there was nothing to it except what I felt like when I got up in the morning, but people were trying to read some significance into how I was attired when I came to give the State of the States. I remember there was a cartoon in the Milwaukee Journal at that time by Carlson, where there are two fellows at a bar, and one of them said, "I'm really mad at that damned Earl." And the other fellow said, "Why is that?" He said, "Well, he raised taxes." And the other fellow said, "Well, he said that was what he was going to do in the campaign." And the last fellow said, "Politicians should never keep their promises."
Oh my God.
Was a very big believer, still am a very big believer, that what the states do shouldn't simply reflect what's going on at the federal level, but rather the state should be laying out things laboratory of democracy style.
Yes.
And we did try to do some things and succeeded in doing some things that were eventually picked up by the federal government. For example, we were way ahead of everybody on clean air, on cap and trade. We didn't call it that at the time, but that's really what it was. And I wanted to be laying out those kinds of things. And I fairly regularly had an environmental theme because I had come out of the DNR.
Former DNR secretary.
Yeah. And so I liked the environment at that time, and I think it's coming back to this now. The environment at that time was one of those few issues that wasn't polarized by partisanship. Gaylord Nelson started a very active campaign for the environment. Warren Knowles came along and said, "I'll see yours and double it." And for a number of years, it was a bipartisan kind of thing. It went away for a while, but I think it's coming back again now. And there's no reason that environmental issues should be decided on partisan votes. People may have different points of view. How far do you go? How much do you rely on the market? How much do you rely on regulation? But it shouldn't be partisan.
A great author once said that I'm part of everyone I've met. And when I was thinking about the quality of the person of Tony Earl, and of the friendship, and of his leadership, and of his courage, I think of this author saying, I'm part of everyone I've met. And so we've met the family, we've met the children, we've met the supporters, we met the people that were involved in his governmental experience. And so as much as I salute Tony Earl for the quality of person he is, I salute all the people he has met, which is all of you. Because as we know, this democracy is not going to be very well off without more people like Tony Earl and without more people like you. And so what an honor for me So here's what you understand, that Tony Earl is a great man, a great leader with courage, that this democracy cannot survive without more people like him and without more people like you. And so we have this chance to stand back and say thank you, Governor, and thank you, friends. Thank you.
Tony, you've been a good friend, a teacher, a fellow Irishman for many years, far more than either of us can remember. Your counsel has always been appreciated. Your dedication to public service is without exception. Before you go tonight, let's all of us follow the lead of Tony by spending a little more time seeking true happiness, by practicing the words of Booker T. Washington and what Tony Earl practiced. Those who are happiest are those who do the most for others. On behalf of everyone in this room, your friends across the country, my friend, I would like to end with our Irish blessing. Tony, may the road always rise to meet you. May the wind be always at your back. May the sun shine warm upon your forehead and the rains fall soft upon your fields. And until we meet again, may God hold you in the palm of his hand. God love you, you Irishmen. God love your family, God love Wisconsin, and God love the United States of America.